All right. Well, before we get to the Pimp and Butterfly full album reaction, we gotta do a little detail story or a little go into a little detail journey. Yes, it's like an hour video, but not really. But hey, I see my boy Tupac Shakur and Kendrick Lamar on this video, man. So we finna react to this guy explaining why To Pimp a Butterfly is the greatest album of all time. Now, see, me personally, I like Kendrick Lamar. I've been liking Kendrick Lamar when I was like, what, 6? Yeah, I know, 6 years old, listening to Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, I was crazy. But still, though, this man, you really had to listen to him in order to know what he's talking about in his songs. Like, the GNX album, that was fire. The Damn album, that was cool. Good Kid, Mad City, that was cool. But a lot of people say To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick is the greatest album of all time. Not in his career, but of all time. And I'm gonna give y'all my detail on this album, but let's get straight to it, man. Why I think To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar is the greatest album of all time by my boy Anthony. Let's get it.
Spark the brain. I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world.
Before I begin this video, there is nothing wrong if you are not a fan of jazz music.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
And also, if you are
I'm a fan of jazz music, so it really doesn't affect me, but let's get it.
a casual music listener and you just want to turn up and party to music, that's perfectly fine. Not my cup of tea, but good for you. However, what we are not going to do, zoom in, we are not going to sit here and call this album boring. We're not going to say the production is trash.
That's the thing, though. Some people said the good To Pimp a Butterfly album is boring and just mid. But I'll get into more details, but let's get it.
And we are damn sure not going to summarize this album as Kendrick Lamar trying to free the slaves. Are you kidding me?
Always rapping like you about to get the slaves free.
What?
Drake. We'll get to the big three conversation details later, but whatever.
To Pimp a Butterfly covers so many topics. For you folks, to summarize it as Django Unchained Part 2. It is crazy, but guess what? Reading comprehension is not for everyone, apparently. I guess we just failed at English language arts. That's what I'm here for. So allow me to take you on this journey. The greatest album of all time by my eyes and standards. This album has always been here in my background. Let's start with Wesley's Theory.
Where there's love for everyone,
and every nigga is a star. The album starting off with this sample does so many things. One, it takes off where Good Kid, Mad City ended. All right, Good Kid, Mad City ended with Kendrick Lamar getting signed, and now he is rich, famous, superstar, and finally in a position where he can share his voice to the world. You instantly get themes of a caterpillar as the four corners of this cocoon
Okay.
So now you're starting to see the trap being set for Kendrick Lamar. And he sings, "At first I did love you, but now I just wanna fuck. Late nights thinking of you."
Whoa, okay.
Well, I got my nut.
Everybody get up! I need you to sing this shit right now.
In other words, he used to dream of being this famous rapper, exposed to all of the wealth in the world, and then he realized, it ain't what it seemed. It's like Dorothy when she visited the yellow brick road, but eventually she just wanted to go home.
No place like home.
The Wizard of Oz was a good ass movie, though.
Kendrick Lamar is fantasizing about all these things he can do. So he says, when I get signed, homie, I'ma act a fool.
God's
gift to earth. Nigga, you ain't shit. I'll spunk you up. When I get signed on me, I'm acting fool. Hit the dance floor, start legs in the pool.
And he's saying he's gonna take his homies from the swap meet and put them in front of the White House. He did it on the cover of the album. But through it all, he learned some valuable lessons. See, he meets Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam is a recurring character on this album. And Uncle Sam is obviously there to take them taxes. Okay, but see, in this song, Uncle Sam presents Kendrick with a dream. He's like, look, you can get anything you want. You want the mall? I got you. You want clothes, cars, diamonds? I got you. But then you get something that's haunting in the background. As Kendrick is dreaming of all of these things he can get, material things, you hear, we should never gave niggas money, go back home. We should never gave niggas money, go back home.
We should never gave brothers money, go back home.
They should have never gave you niggas money.
We don't actually want these guys to have money. We're gonna give them money, but it's all going to be for show, because eventually we're gonna take it right back and they're not gonna know what to do because they have no education of economics.
Economic problem is probably the most serious problem confronting the Negro
My boy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Rest in peace, bro.
community.
And he says it here, but remember, you ain't passed economics in school, and everything you buy taxes will deny. I'll Wesley Snipe your ass before 35. Wesley Snipes is a huge superstar, movie actor in Hollywood who didn't pay his taxes, and he had to serve time in prison, all right? Eventually went broke for a little bit.
Prosecutors say Snipes stopped paying taxes, then illegally claimed $11 million in refunds.
That is what happens to a lot of people. You know, it happened to a lot of basketball players back in the day where they did not know how to manage the money they were making and they lost it all.
Talks about something that we weren't taught in school. The moment I become successful and I get some money and I don't know how to manage my money, that you're gonna throw me back in jail for taxes.
And on a deeper level, it shows you that these racist American institutions exploit black creators from the hood with no knowledge of economics. So they have them sign these deals, handing them $1 million up front, but unfortunately, they have no healthy spending habits or knowledge that the money given up front has to be paid back with interest. I would also like to note that Whitney, Kendrick's fiance, is on this track. And right then and there, you get the theme of the album, Kendrick Lamar being pimped by the music industry. You see, people say that Kendrick Lamar is trying to free the slaves on this album, but really, Kendrick Lamar is trying to free himself from the evils of fame and fortune.
This dick ain't free.
And then you get the track For Free. And For Free has a beautiful saxophone, it's jazzy, and Kendrick Lamar comes on the track sounding like he's doing jazz scatting. In this song, Kendrick Lamar is pretty much saying, I'm not going to let anyone take advantage of me. Now, there is some references or callbacks to slavery and more specifically the need for reparations, right? 40 acres and a mule gets mentioned on this as a way to represent that, look, we worked for this country for free. We were slaves. We were beaten, all these things. And we built this country hand by hand and got nothing in return. But Kendrick uses this as a way to correlate the slavery of back then to slavery of music and the industry.
This dick ain't free. Look at me like the receipt, like I never be a speed. Eating your leftovers and wrong beats. This dick ain't free. Living in captivity, range, my cap celery, celery, green is all I need. Everything that I see, spam and raw sardines. This dick ain't free. I need baby. You really think you can make a baby? Mercedes without a Mercedes Benz. I'm 24 Benz, 5% dent, air conditioning fans. Hell fucking no.
He's pretty much like, I know my worth, and I don't think what you are trying to sell me, Lucy, Uncle Sam, what you're trying to sell me is all that worth it. But this song could be summed up in one line. He says, oh, America, you bad bitch, I picked cotton and made you rich, now my dick ain't free. America is a gold digger for black talent, to exploit black talent.
But no touching.
Oh, America, you bad bitch.
Pick cotton and made you rich, now my dick ain't free. Right there, if you're understanding the story so far, Wesley's theory is them already setting the stage of we're trying to pimp all the artists in the industry, specifically these rappers who don't know much about what they're signing and what they're doing.
Nigga, are you deaf? I'm a pimp named Slickback. Say it with me now.
He's my pimp.
Then go to For Free to fight back and be like, no, you're not going to take advantage of me. Like he says on Wesley's theory, at first I did love you, but now I'm just trying to fuck. Now I'm just trying to take advantage of you because you are trying to take advantage of me. You're trying to pimp me. Well, guess what? I'm going to try to pimp you. And then you get King Kunta. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking King Kunta. Everybody want to cut the legs off him. Kunta, black man taking no losses.
Kunta, black man taking no losses. Oh, yeah.
King Kunta is King Kendrick. This is Kendrick Lamar poking his chest out saying, I'm the king of the rap game. And he uses King Kunta.
And by the way, out of the big three of Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole, I'm a J. Cole guy. I am a J. Cole guy, and I'm gonna do some J. Cole reaction. But right now, I'm focusing on To This Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. So right now, we're gonna focus on Kendrick. Yeah, King Kendrick. Yeah.
Who is a slave who tried to run away, and they cut his legs off, literally. And Kendrick uses that figuratively to say, I'm running the rap game, but I'm also running the music industry. I'm finessing the music industry, and they gonna have to cut my legs off in order to get.
I think it's about that time. Put a little pimpin' in my pocket. Hit me. I got a bone to pick. Wait. But I rap it with a ghost rider. Tell me what happened to you. Oh, no.
There's so many references on this album that you have to dig deep, like the Bill Clinton reference. You know, because Bill Clinton, he had his main dish, but he also had his side dish.
Kind of have to laugh at my younger self, but that was when my crush started.
Wonderful lady Bill Clinton with desires.
Now, this is a really important setup because on this song, he talks about his influence, his impact, his power. But as the album goes on, you'll realize that Kendrick is misusing that influence. He's misusing that power. He's using it for the wrong things. So King Kunta is like, hey, I'm so influential, but at what cost? Because what is he really doing with that influence? And you'll see that through the rest of the album. And the first instance where you see Kendrick going down the wrong path is institutionalize. 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 The reason why is because you are the company you keep. Tell me who 5 of your friends are and I'll tell you who you are, right? That's the age-old quote. And institutionalize is Kendrick Lamar taking all these people from Compton.
My homeboys in front of the White House is really taking, people from my neighborhood and taking them around the world.
Kendrick Lamar's best friends, who he grew up with, who's also a Pyru gang member. Does the crew come out every time you come to Compton?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can take someone out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of someone.
What money got to do with it when I don't know the full definition of a rap image? Trapped inside together when I ain't proud to admit it. Institutionalized, I keep running back for a visit. Hold up. Wait, get it back. Ah, shit. I said I'm trapped inside together when I ain't proud to admit it. Institutionalized, I can still kill me a nigga. Hold up. Sing, if I was the...
Even though he's famous, he has no reason at all to be doing the things he still thinks about doing. City so divine called West Side Compton. There stood a little nigga, he was 5 foot something. And then he mentions he brings his friends to an award show. And at the award show, he's trying to sit there, network. But his friends, they're trying to commit robberies. They're trying to pickpocket these celebrities. They're trying to catch people slipping.
You gotta snatch some collars and let them motherfuckers know you there to take them out anytime you feel like it. You gotta get the ground beneath your feet, partner.
And that's the thing. They still have that hood mentality, right? Even in these amazing positions they're in now due to their friends' wealth. And on the hook of the song, Kendrick Lamar's grandma is pretty much saying, shit don't change until you get up and wipe your ass. Nothing's gonna change in your life unless you do the work to change it.
You got to wash your ass.
Shit don't change until you get up and wash your ass. And the song being titled Institutionalized is awesome because it's a callback for me, you know, when you watch the movie Shawshank Redemption and Morgan Freeman's character talks about being institutionalized. Like, even if you want to try to break out of the barriers that are set for you, it's very difficult.
Institutionalized my ass. In here, he's an important man. He's an educated man. Outside, he's nothing.
And right there, I believe you get Kendrick's first internal conflict. The internal conflict of, hey, I'm trying to bring everyone from my community along with me as I rise to fame, but it's causing me trouble because these people are in some ways going to hold me back. They're going to get me in trouble because they're not smart enough or savvy enough in these positions at the very moment. So it creates a conflict because if he turns his back on his community, he's going to be looked at as a sellout. But if he brings the community along with him, it could get him into some trouble. That is very important because we'll talk about that in the song You. But let's stay on track here. You see, Kendrick Lamar is still misusing his influence. And then you get These Walls. Now, the thing with These Walls, you hear a poem at the beginning. Now, that poem started at the end of King Kunta, but you don't realize it until you get to These Walls because you realize he's repeating the same exact thing.
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence.
Every single time you hear it, though, he adds another line or two to it, but you don't know where it's going. And I'm not going to explain it yet. We'll talk about that later on. We're still on the topic of Kendrick Lamar misusing his power. He doesn't know what he's doing with his fame. And that's the thing with this album. Before I get into These Walls, everybody says, oh, this is a boring album. All he's talking about is black empowerment and freeing the slaves.
Always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed.
No, God, please.
Drake.
No, no!
Kendrick Lamar is on a journey by himself. This is the journey of Kendrick Lamar. It's just that Kendrick is way more complex. These Walls.
Tony, give me some of that smooth shit on that bass. Straight gangster shit, nigga.
The first part of the song is groovy. You just want to dance. It sounds like something you can play at a barbecue. And you hear Anna Wise singing,
shout out to the birthday girl, say hey, say hey. Yeah. Oh, girl, everyone deserves a night to play.
It's already a party. And then you hear, if these walls could talk. And really, they're just singing about sex. No boat, I flow better than he would. No life jacket, I'm not the God of Nazareth, but your flood could be misunderstood.
Born telling me they full of pain, resentment. Need someone to live in them just to relieve tension.
Kendrick Lamar is talking freaky on this track, talking about the walls of a woman that he's fancying at the moment.
Oh my God, this man album, boy. Sheesh.
Interior pink, color coordinated, I interrogated every nook and cranny. I mean, there's still a minute before they couldn't stand me. These walls wanna cry tears. These walls happier when I'm here. These walls never go hold up. Time I come around, demolition might crush. Oh. I can feel your rain when it cries. Gold lives inside of you. Yeah.
But here's the thing about the track. See, this is more than Kendrick Lamar trying to get his freak on. See, the first two verses, he's obviously talking sweet, sexy, smooth to this woman and all the things he wants to do to her walls. But the third verse, and Kendrick Lamar breaks down the story of these walls. You see, these walls are actually more than the walls of a woman. These are prison walls. See, the girl that he's getting with, the girl he's having sex with, happens to be the girlfriend of the dude that shot his close friend in the song Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst.
Speaking on the story how I was there, you know, when his brother passed, and I got to watch him take his last breath.
Wall's telling you to listen to Sing About Me. Retaliation is strong, you even dream about me.
Kill my homeboy and God spared your life. Dumb criminal got indicted the same night.
So when you play this song, rewind the first verse about me abusing my power so you can hurt.
About me and her in the shower whenever she horny. About me and her at the hour of the morning.
About our baby daddy currently serving life and how she think about you until we meet up at night.
About the only girl that cared about you when you asked her and how she messing with a famous rapper.
Now, if you're following the story here, Kendrick's fame and power is starting to take control over him. And then you get you. Kendrick Lamar starts you off screaming. He's screaming off the top of his lungs. And you're wondering, where is Kendrick? He sounds like he's in a very dark room by himself, looking at the mirror in complete disgust with just a bottle of alcohol that he is drinking from top to bottom. He is not in a good place on this record. And this record is all about Survivor's guilt. He kind of has imposter syndrome on this record. He doesn't believe that he should be where he is right now.
Things is happening back home in my city or in my family that I can't do nothing about. It's out of my control. I don't can put it in God's hands. I couldn't understand that. And that can draw a thin line, you know, between you having your sanity and you losing it.
Kendrick even mentions his sister, right? He mentions how he had an album called Section 80 that told stories to help women. Yet his own little sister got pregnant as a teenager. He felt like he was a failure to his sister.
I bet before.
It's crazy.
I can name several situations that start with your little sister baking. A baby inside, just a teenager. Where your patience? Where's your fluence? What was the experience you speak of? Preached in front of 100,000 but never reached her. I tell you, damn failure, you ain't no leader. Don't like you forever, despise you. I don't need you. I don't need you. Don't let them deceive you.
He blames himself for everything. He even blames himself for another friend dying and Kendrick not going to the hospital to visit the friend before he died. He just had...
He being too humble. He takes everything on himself when everything goes bad. He always blames himself for that. But he really ain't got to blame for yourself like that, bro. Like, shit happened, bro.
Time call with him because he was on tour or he was on the red carpet. In other words, Kendrick was so focused on fame and so focused on his new role as a superstar that he's slowly separating away from all the people that made him who he is today.
You pretend you ain't no brother, you ain't no disciple, you ain't no friend. A friend never leave captive for profit. I leave his best friend, little brother, you promised you watch him. When they shot him, what was your antennas? On the road, bottles and bitches, FaceTime the one time, that's unforgiving. Even FaceTime instead of a hospital visit. This shit that he recover well. Third surgery, they couldn't stop his bleeding for real. He died, got himself and said you fucking failed.
And can you really blame him? I mean, ultimately, he grew up in a very harsh environment. It's hard to tell someone like that to just go back to that harsh environment to help everyone out. But Kendrick is not thinking logically on this record. All he does is point the finger at himself. And then eventually he breaks down to the point where he's at the hotel room and you hear housekeeping knocking on the door, but Kendrick Lamar is drunk out of his mind and he's unresponsive at this point. And then you just hear Kendrick Lamar crying. I mean, crying his eyes out, bawling on the second verse of the song. It gives you chills. It gives you goosebumps.
You ain't tried.
The craziest thing about this record is you could hear Kendrick take gulps of alcohol. You can literally hear him swallow the alcohol. He ends the track saying, "And if I told your secrets, the world will know money can't stop a suicidal weakness." Pretty much putting it out there that he is suicidal on this record. Now, I want to point out that You is a very important song because there's another song on the album called I that is the complete opposite of You. And we'll get into that later. But the next song is All Right. Now, on a larger scale, All Right became a protest anthem. Now, this song to me is a gift and a curse on the album. It's easily the most important song he's ever put out. It's the most impactful song in his discography. Everyone's saying Not Like Us is Kendrick Lamar's biggest song. I disagree. I would say All Right is going to go down as Kendrick Lamar's biggest song. And it's not because of the streams, it's because of the impact. This song was talked about on Fox News.
Lamar stated his views on police brutality with that line in the song, quote, "And we hate the popo, want to kill us in the street, faux show." KG.
Ah, please. Ugh, I don't like it.
This song was chanted at protest for Black Lives Matter. This song was everywhere, especially in 2015. But like I said, this album serves a purpose for both the Black community, but also Kendrick Lamar. For the Black community, in the year 2015, we were still mourning the death of Trayvon Martin and mourning the death of Michael Brown and other Black men and women who were killed by the hands of police brutality. But for Kendrick Lamar, going from You, which was a song he expresses his suicidal weaknesses, to a song where he's like, I'm at the preacher's door, my knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gonna be all right. It's almost to say, like, after everything I've been through, I'm gonna be okay. And I feel like after a heavy message in You need this message in All Right to come right after. And just in terms of the production, this is probably the most up-tempo, hype production that you get on To Pimp a Butterfly. The song starts off with All's My Life I Has to Fight, which is a reference to The Color Purple.
All my life I had to fight. I had to fight.
He was so down bad on You, and All Right, he says, you know what? All's my life I had to fight. I can get through this. I can power through this. And that's why I love this song so much. And I think this song is also important because for it to have the streams that it has, the popularity that it has, I mean, this song, you go to a concert, people are literally mosh pitting to this song.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay stub, but I'm looking at you from the breakdown.
That kind of impact is why music is so important. You know, the most dangerous threat that you can pose to the higher powers that be is a strong message and strong words, you know, and us reading those words. You know, that's why I love this quote right here. The most dangerous thing in America is a nigga with a library card.
You know what the most dangerous thing in America is, right? Nigga with a library card.
It's reading, it's higher learning. And back to the whole caterpillar reference, this is where Kendrick Lamar slowly starts to break out of the cocoon. Unfortunately, people have bad reading comprehension skills. If you didn't get a chance to watch this video, please do, because I really break down how terrible the attention span is for the average music listener in 2024. So I can see how people just look at this album, oh my God, this is a political album. But when you really listen to it, this song is really the only protest anthem on the album, maybe aside from The Blacker, The Berry. Other than that, I think this song, All Right, being the biggest song on the album, it gives off the image that this is what the rest of the album is. And that's very far from the truth. In fact, if you look at the verse, obviously, you know, we gonna be all right has taken on so many different meanings and important meanings. But Kendrick Lamar still talks about fame on this record. You know, he mentions Lucy, which is Lucifer, the devil, and how there's all of this lust and material things that are taking over him and how he deals with it. You know, I just think that because of what the track became, people just label this album a protest album. Get on to the next track, For Sale. You see, throughout this album, Kendrick Lamar is still putting together this poem piece by piece. But this track right here is just a little bit different. This is La La Land. Kendrick takes you to the chocolate factory that Willy Wonka had. This is different. This is the Yellow Brick Road. All fantasy, but looks can be deceiving. You see, this song is Kendrick Lamar meeting the devil and having a dance, all right? And Kendrick Lamar is a man of God, but he starts the record off pretty much saying even the devil knows the Bible.
I remember you took me to the mall last week, baby. You looked me in my eyes about 4 or 5 times and I was hypnotized and you clarified that You said Sherane ain't got no Lucy, I said you crazy, eh? Rose a red, violets a blue, maybe and you both pushing up daisies if I. Now baby, when I get you, I'ma go into battle with you, smoking, loking, poking, and danger till I'm out with you, cause
Oh my God. And the tone that Kendrick speaks in, it's so soft and it's like a warm hug from your grandma, but you don't want that hug. Oh no, grandma. Lucy is trying to seduce Kendrick Lamar. Lucy is Lucifer. The devil is trying to seduce Kendrick. That's why the track sounds so pleasant, so magical, so beautiful. It sounds like Disney World.
You said Lucy like Ricardo, and I said, oh, no, not for sure.
This track is all about how enticing fame and fortune could be, but also how rooted in evil it all is. Really, you're compromising your integrity and your morals when you're going to, Diddy, going to these parties, going to these events, going behind these doors that you've never been behind before, and it's tricky. I mean, there's people that literally lose their minds. I mean, we're talking about Amanda Bynes. We're talking about Lindsay Lohan. So many names I can think of. Even just Nickelodeon and everything going on with Dan Schneider and what they put those kids through. It's disgusting. And that's why so many of these people turn out to be crazy, right? And Kendrick, he's met with that temptation. The track sounds like something that would be in Euphoria.
I had made a new best friend, and for the first time since getting out of rehab, I was feeling good about the world.
Just like an absolute psychedelic experience. A lot of these individuals that get met with this temptation, they feel helpless because this is where the money is. This is where the wealth is, the opportunities. But you have to sacrifice a lot of who you are in order to get those things. Because Dave Chappelle was offered an insane amount of money, I believe $50 million, but he turned it down because he felt like he would be selling his soul if he took that money. And it wasn't the money that was wrong. He felt like his self-worth was worth more than the money being presented.
Hostility of the environment of show business. The success takes you where character cannot sustain you.
And then you get the track Mama, okay? Because when times get rough, the best thing you can get is a warm hug from Mama. But the Mama Kendrick Lamar is talking about on this song is not necessarily his mother. He's talking about the motherland, which is Africa. Kendrick Lamar talks about his visit to Africa and how that humbled him. Again, you get a lot of contrast on this album. So King Kunta, Kendrick thought he was on top of the world, right? And on Wesley's Theory, he talked about all the things he wanted, the material things. But then he realizes, actually, this is not what I want. And then he looks for answers like, okay, what is it that I truly want? So he goes to Africa and he realizes he has to humble himself. He's letting the fame get to his head and he needs to experience his roots. The beat on this song is very smooth, and the first verse, the way he raps, the rhyme scheme.
Now I can live in the stadium, pack it the fastest. Gambling, Benjamin benefit, sitting in traffic, spinning women in cartwheel, living fabric on fashion, winning in every decision. Kendrick is mastered it, isn't it? Lovely how ministers turn attraction, pivoting rappers, finishing fraction, writing blue magic. Thank God for rap. I would say it got me plaques, but what's better than that?
And like I said on the last track, there's a lot you can correlate to Dave Chappelle, because Dave Chappelle, he turned down $50 million and he went to Africa to find himself.
$50 million contract from Comedy Central.
Dave abruptly walked away.
You know, when you're a guy that generates money, people have a vested interest in control.
Kendrick Lamar realizes that he's willing to give up his fame and fortune to achieve his moral high ground again. And my favorite verse is that second verse, because he speaks about how he knows everything. I know this, I know this, I know this. He's listing all the things he knows about life, right? He feels like he has the cheat code to everything until he goes home. When he visits Africa, that's the first time he breaks and realizes that he doesn't know anything at all.
I know everything. I know myself. I know morality, spirituality, good and bad health. I know fatality, my hauncher. I know everything. I know Compton. I know street shit. I know shit that's conscious. I know everything. Lawyers, advertisement, and sponsors. I know wisdom. I know bad religion, and I know good karma. I know everything.
And my favorite line in the song is, if I'm generous at heart, I don't need recognition. The way I'm rewarded, well, that's God's decision. He realizes this is above me. My voice needs to be a vessel to help others, and I do not need to reap the benefits from it. Whatever God wants to put in the palm of my hand due to my own decisions is completely up to him. The final verse, to me, it reminds me of Black Panther, the message of Black Panther, and African Americans and Africa.
I gave you a key, hoping that you might see it someday.
But Kendrick Lamar sees himself in this little kid that he meets in Africa, and he realizes, I'm just like this little boy. And that little boy says, hey, I watch you on the TV screen all the time. Please come to visit us more. Visit Africa, learn more about your roots. That's what the little kid tells Kendrick Lamar.
A lot of my inspiration comes from meeting people or going outside of the country or going around the corner to my old neighborhood, talking to a 5-year-old little boy.
I met a little boy that resembled my features.
Now remember, in King Kunta, Kendrick Lamar is pretty much saying, I'm the king of this shit. And he goes to his community to run around with his chest poked out, crown on his head, I'm the best alive, right? Hood politics is Kendrick Lamar doing the same exact thing. He's going back to his hood. It's the same old thing. He mentions on the song Democrips and Republicans, right? Which is Democrats versus Republicans, kind of taking politics and saying, hey, these political parties work similar to gangs, right? How people align themselves to a political party is how some of the gangs align themselves to the flag and the color of the flag that's in their back pocket.
Streets don't fail me. They tell me it's a new. Ain't nothing new but a fluid new Democrat and Republican. Red state versus a blue state. Which one you governing?
Now, Kendrick Lamar has all these things in his head, but to me, how much a dollar cost is the most important track to Kendrick's discovery, right? Kendrick Lamar, he's at a gas station, he's sitting in a luxury car. And in that luxury car, he sees a homeless man at his window, and the homeless man is asking him for $1. Kendrick's like, I don't have $1. Please leave. The homeless man insists.
Hey, little dude from across the street. Let me hold $1.
Kendrick Lamar's not having it. He's like, man, you reek of alcohol. I don't trust you. I worked hard for my money. Kendrick has this all-out stare down with the dude. He keeps repeating, he's staring at me in disbelief, my temper building, he's staring at me, I grab my key, and eventually he says, now I'm staring back at him. Now I want to take a bat and aim it at his neck. And he gets hostile. Like, he hates the fact that this dude is questioning his humility.
Like I was supposed to save him, like I'm the reason he homeless and asking me for a favor. Staring at me, I noticed that his stare is contagious. Cause now I'm staring back at him, feeling some type of disrespect. If I could throw a bat at him, it'll be aiming at his neck.
Oh my God, the ending of this record is so incredible. The ending of the song is the homeless man pretty much saying, I'm actually a representation of God. In fact, not even a representation. I am God. He says, how much a dollar cost? A dollar cost your spot in heaven. Because you didn't give me that dollar, you lost your spot in heaven. Embrace your loss. And he leaves.
The moment I actually engaged with him, he said, God bless you.
And it goes back to that line, if I'm generous at heart, I don't need recognition. The way I'm rewarded, well, that's God's decision. And then eventually you get the last few tracks on the album. Kendrick Lamar starts to put his self-discovery to good use. And you get Complexion, and I'm going to use Complexion to talk more about hood politics. On hood politics, Kendrick also talks about rap beef. He talks about his Control verse and how he took aim at all the rappers in the industry, but also how people took that verse and misconstrued it to make it seem like Kendrick was trying to cause hate amongst his peers.
The only nigga next to Snoop that can push the button.
East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
So on Complexion, Kendrick's saying, I do not want to make an enemy out of my own people, out of black people. I do not want to be enemies with my black brother and black sister.
Say what? Complexion. Complexion don't mean a thing. Sing it if you know it.
I love this song so much. The beat, the flow, it's a beautiful song. And the verse from Rhapsody is perfect.
Find the air beneath the kite, that's a context. Yeah, baby, I'm conscious. Ain't no contest.
Pretty much this song explores the Willie Lynch theory. The Willie Lynch theory is that if you can cause divide amongst the group of people, in this case, black people, and you can get them to hate each other, they won't stick together and revolt against the master. If everybody's yelling at each other, and if you get everyone to hate each other, they'll all stay in their place, and they will not cause any revolt. However, if they all like each other, if they all love each other, if they're all working hand in hand, they'll figure out a way to unite and escape. And with that knowledge, Kendrick realizes why this whole king of the game and beefing with everybody is not truly worth it for the bigger picture. And with that in mind, Kendrick Lamar is now fully able to revolt. He's fully able to revolt against his oppressor, but also against his own mind. And then you get the Blacker the Berry. And on that song, the drums are loud, and Kendrick Lamar is exposing white supremacy, saying, hey, you are exploiting my talent. You only like me because I rap. You only like me for my culture. And you want to pimp my culture for your own benefits.
You never liked this anyway.
Fucking friendship, I meant it. My hair is nappy, my dick is big, my nose is rounded wide. You hate me, don't you? You hate my people.
And even though he's speaking up for these racial injustices going on, Kendrick, towards the end of the track, realizes that he's a hypocrite. Because remember the song Institutionalized, where Kendrick Lamar says he would still kill a nigga?
You can still kill me, your nigga. Hold up.
The ending of The Blacker the Berry is Kendrick saying, hey, I'm a hypocrite because even though I'll fight for Trayvon Martin and fight for these black individuals who are innocently killed in the streets, I'll still kill my own black brother in the streets too.
Gang banging make me kill a nigga blacker than me. Hypocrite.
When I say gang banging make me kill a nigga blacker than me, this is my life.
And to me, I don't think that's to mute the power of speaking up on injustices. I think it's more so a challenge to himself. I need to do better in my own right so I can be a better activist for my people. And then Kendrick Lamar ends the album with You Ain't Gotta Lie.
I didn't go to the show last night.
You ain't got to lie.
You ain't gotta lie to kick it, my nigga.
Greg, you ain't got to lie.
You ain't gotta lie.
Pretty much a song saying you can be who you want to be in this world. You don't have to fall into stereotypes, and understand your own self-worth and understand that the best way to live is to be who you are to the fullest degree. Now, remember I mentioned You and I. I is an important track because on You, he says, loving you is complicated. On I, Kendrick has gotten to the point in this journey where he finally loves himself. A new sense of self-worth and self-love. And now because he has that worth, he can now share these things to his community. Speaks on the power of the word niggas. Pretty much taking the power back from what slave masters meant when they said the N-word versus what us black African Americans mean when we say it.
I dedicate this one verse to Oprah.
Singing the N-word. For our generation, what we did was we took the word and we took the power out of that word.
My explanation straight from Ethiopia, Negus.
And in the last song, Kendrick Lamar details a story of visiting South Africa, specifically Nelson Mandela's cell.
Nelson Mandela to be released tomorrow, and as you might expect, that is a moment that this country will not soon forget.
Love me like Nelson. I went to Robbins Island analyzing, that's where his cell is.
Why he wants to be like Nelson. He pleads for his community to stand behind him at all times, even when things get shaky. Remember the poem I kept talking about throughout this video? You hear a poem at the beginning. Now that poem started at the end of King Kunta, but you don't realize it until you get to these walls because you realize he's repeating the same exact thing. I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence. Every single time you hear it though, he adds another line or two to it, but you don't know where it's going. And he keeps adding lines and lines and lines. Eventually, the poem tells you the story of how Kendrick Lamar went from a caterpillar trapped in the cocoon to a butterfly. So if you're following this album so far, and I want to do summaries throughout because this album is very complex. I'm sure I'm missing a ton of things, but Kendrick Lamar on Wesley's Theory is exposed to fame, but the economics, the lack of education is a learning curve for Kendrick as he's dealing with money that he's never seen in his life, right? So he's dealing with money. He tries his best to combat that and know his self-worth, but his self-worth is jaded. You know, he's big-headed. He thinks he knows it all. And on King Kunta, he thinks he's on top of the world. He's trying to bring his community along with him, but ultimately it backfires. He's using his fame for the wrong reasons, and then he ends up in the darkest place in his life where he is having suicidal thoughts. Eventually, he gets out of his head and he dusts his shoulders off. He realizes everything's going to be all right. And even though he's still dealing with fame, dealing with Lucy, he returns to Africa, returns to his roots, and he picks up on some things and learns some valuable lessons, like on how much a dollar costs. He learns why you shouldn't be greedy and why you should lend a helping hand. And then eventually you get the last few tracks on the album where Kendrick Lamar starts to put his self-discovery to good use. And then going back to his community on songs like Complexion, You Ain't Gotta Lie, to teach his community some of the things he's learned and use his voice in a powerful way. Ultimately coming to a conclusion, he can spread his wings and create the kind of music that protects his integrity and defeats Lucifer, the devil, Lucy, in the process. And that is the story of To Pimp a Butterfly. And the beauty is that poem was written for the person who inspired this album. Remember the quote from the beginning of the video?
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world.
My world is born, I see, and the ground is the symbol for the poor people.
And the interesting thing about Mortal Man, He says that he was gonna title the track Just Another Nigga. In other words, Kendrick sees himself in every individual on the album cover. He feels like everyone represents him and he represents everyone else.
Feeling like you've been pimped and maneuvered, you know, in the industry. How can I make that something positive and embracive to my community?
Ultimately saying that it doesn't matter what situation these individuals are in, they are all capable of being butterflies if they get out of the environment that they're in. But when they get out of those environments, the question is, will they avoid the pimp? And if you enjoyed this video, as always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. More coming soon. And as always with the channel, we end off with a hug. Bring it in.
I lean on you niggas like another line of walk. Yeah, it's all eyes on me, and I'ma send it up the pot. Ay.
Full album reaction coming soon. Yeet.